at the Ranki Ramatraka. Sometimes people ask me questions like, can you help me get greater control over my physical energy? And I'm not quite sure what physical energy means. But I think I know what people are getting at when they ask such questions. I mean, I've never actually seen energy, so apparently it's not really physical. But people are talking about getting control over the energy that has to do with their physical bodies, that operates their physical bodies. All right. So, I mean, one question that would fit into this category of questions would be, how can I get my energy out of my head and, on out into the other parts of my body? I've been asked that question. Well, long ago, when I was going to a martial arts school in New York City, I went to the sensei and I asked him, how can I get control over my energy? And he pointed to the collar of my, karate uniform, my gi. There's a little brown ring around it. Now, I had been working very hard after every class to bleach this thing clean, to keep it as white as possible, but there was a little brown mark there that I just could not get out. But I had been using so much bleach, the thing was tearing. I mean, the material was rotting from the bleach. He points this out. He lifts out my collar, roughly, points at it, and he says, you clean gi, you get energy. You come ask me about energy? You clean gi dirty. You clean gi. You get energy. Irritated me, but look, I'm going to say something quite not that extreme here, but if you want to get some control over the physicalized kind of whatever you would call it side of your energy, it's a good idea to first get a feel for what that energy actually is by feeling it. I mean, do you really know what it feels like? Do you take it to be that stimulated feeling that you get when you drink a bunch of coffee on your way to work in the morning? That might not be the kind of energy you're actually referring to here, but that might be your concept of what energy feels like. So let's try something here to get to the feel of energy. And then, once you get that, you're a lot closer to being able to control it with your will. The power of your will. So, here's a concept that I'm sure you're familiar with. The common denominator. The common thing among various things. Like pine trees, oak trees, elm trees, and maple trees, they have something in common, right? There's a common thread there among those things. Treehood. That would be the common denominator, let's say. Now, I want to give you several things to do, a couple things to do, and I want you to find the common denominator among them, and that common denominator will be the feeling of energy. So here's the first thing to do. Let's create some energy and feel what it feels like. And then we'll do something else. Go through the same procedure with that other thing to do and feel what that energy feels like. But this will be energy created in two different ways, and it'll feel two different ways. And I want you to find the common thing. Feel the thing that's in common among those two feelings. And that will be the feeling of energy, or closer to it than you were beforehand. Being able to identify exactly what it feels like. To separate it out from other factors involved in the sensation. All right, here's the first thing. It's rather simple. We've done this before. You know, you rub your hands together, create friction, which reduces, you know, heat, which is energy. All right, do that until it feels nice and warm, and then place one palm on the other forearm. Ah, it feels warm. There's a transfer of energy taking place there, right? Yes, right. Okay, I want you to feel that. Feel it. And you place your attention on it. Feel it. I want you to remember that feeling. Remember it. There's more going on there than just a transfer of energy. There's the sensation of heat, for example, and pressure. Okay, but I want you to remember the total sensation. All right, now I'll do something else. And we'll make, when you make the comparison then, and you look for the common denominator. Here's the other thing to do. Put one hand out in front of you. From underneath the wrist, grip that wrist with your other hand. Just back behind the wrist joint so that you can freely move that hand in all directions, but no further back than that. The point of the gripping is that while moving this hand, we don't want to rotate the forearm. We want to kind of keep it still and isolate the movement of the hand. Now this requires attention. You can do this as an attention training technique that has to do with your physical body, control of your physical body. Look at it in many different ways, all of them equally valid. In this case, the purpose of doing this is for the ends that toward the ends that I've already indicated. But focus to do this, because I want you to push your hand all the way down as far as you can. I mean, like, stretch that down. Not just like straight down, but like out and down. Like you're stretching this out, not just pushing it down, but out and down. All right? Hold that forearm still. Now, when you're pushing this out and down, don't do this if it hurts. I mean, be sensible. If you have a wrist injury, don't make it worse. Just go to the greatest extent that you can, all right? If there's no great pain involved here, you know, in other words, if your wrist is healthy or normal, then really go for it. Push it down right now. Slowly, keeping your wrist pushed to the limit, okay? Rotate that wrist, rotate your hand, rotate the joint, right? Keeping the forearm in place, not turning it, so that you're actually rotating that joint. Now, if you don't focus here, you're going to miss out on a great opportunity, and that is the opportunity to keep that wrist extended, well, extended on this side and contracted on this side, okay, to the greatest possible extent. You'll get lazy and slack off and just end up going like this. No, we want it to be going to its furthest reach all the way around. So go slow and keep focusing. All right? Once you get to this upright position, I don't slack off your attention on this. Don't have it like hanging down here, just going at it half-heartedly, half-mindedly, and half-assedly. No, go at it all the way here. All right? And on around. Down again. I mean, really push this thing, you know? Nice and slow. Keep your attention on it. 5 times around like that, okay? This is good for your wrists, too. I mean, if you're young, it might not seem like it's any big deal, but the older you get, the more ossified your joints become. And if you do this, you know, at least once a day, every day, through your life, It's going to keep your wrists and your use of your hands nice and supple. Okay, so you've gone around 5 times. Now reverse the direction. 5 times. Keep your focus on this. Really keep it pushed out there. Take it to its limit. Try to keep this forearm still. Focus. All right. Once you've done that 5 times, now point that hand straight out and make a fist. See this straight line here? Not up there, not down here, not over there, not back here. Just straight. See that? Straight out. The first 2 knuckles, these first 2 bones here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These first 2 just right in line with your wrist, your forearm. Nice fist. Okay? Squeeze it tight. Now keep a hold of your forearm. Squeeze it tight. 5. 1. Count to 5. 1. Tight. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? Now, relax your hand. Keep a grip here. And flop your hand up and down by moving your arm with this arm. Only to the point where it doesn't hurt, okay? I mean, don't get violent here. All right? Now let go with this hand and flick your wrist that way. Flick your hand that way. The first one is up and down, and then the second one is side to side. 5 times. Ah! And now relax. Now, you've got a sensation. Guaranteed. You have a sensation happening in here. In your wrist. There is a flow of energy. There's other stuff going on too, like, you know, like blood flow, neural transmission, all right? But I want you to feel the sensation, okay? It's different than this one. Different. That was an energy transfer, and so is this now. But they don't feel the same. This one actually, for most people, feels kind of cool. So now it's your job to find the common denominator among those 2 sensations of energy transfer. You find what's common among them, the common feeling among them, and you will be much closer to feeling just energy itself, with the other factors out of the way. All right. This can be very useful in many ways. I mean, if you get a handle on what energy actually feels like, what it really is, then you can willfully control it much more easily. I mean, you can create that feeling, you create that flow, or a focal point of energy wherever you like as an act of will. Let me show you how this is done. Let me give you an example. Do this again. Do that again. Place your hand there. Feel the warmth. Think of it as an energy transfer taking place. A focal point of energy. Think of it like that. Okay? Now take your hand away. Let this arm cool off a bit. Get back to the same temperature as the rest of your arm. And now will that same sensation, or your experience of that sensation, right back into that same spot. Will to feel it there. Will it to be there. However slightly. I'm sure you can do this. Just generate that same sensation right there. Without doing this first. Without going through the physical maneuver for it. Okay? Now, that cool sensation you had here, from the other thing we did, right here. Generate a bit of that feeling, right here. Without doing anything with your hands. Just with your mind, with your will, your power of will. Can you feel a slight tendency in that direction? Can you feel it? Keep trying. Now, if you say, well, yeah, I kind of felt that, but that's just my imagination. Just your imagination. Just your imagination. If you experienced it, well, what more is there? What do you expect? I mean, and if you experienced it, what is it that you're experiencing if not will-controlled energy? You really did it, in other words. Okay, so there you have it. Energy, the very feel of it. I'm Tharanki Ramacharaka, and be well.